Welcome, I'm Rabbi Phil Bressler of Beit Am in Corvallis, Oregon. This is the daily summary video for the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Yomi Daily Halacha Learning Project, covering the passage from Siman 116, Seif 5, to Siman 116, Seif 14. You can find links to the Hebrew and English text of this passage and to the calendar of upcoming passages in this video's description. Continuing discussion of koshering our utensils for Pesach, if a pot has a patch, remember that koshering via Hagala, that's immersion in boiling water, depends on surface contact to remove the chametz flavor. Libun, though, that's heating something up to the point where it turns white till it's white hot, even if it's in just one spot, can get around that. So you can kosher a pot with a patch through libun, at least in that one spot. If you're going to kosher a mortar, that's the bowl part that you might crush spices in with a pestle. Remember, it's about the flavor, so spicier, sharper tasting foods require more stringent methods. And if you're doing a lot of crushing of spicy spices in your mortar, you might need some extra work to kosher that. Barrels used for aging whiskey. Now, number one, they're presumably wood, which is porous and absorptive. And number two, they sit around and absorb for a really long time. So you have to completely expunge the flavor from them for them to be kosherable via Hagala, that's immersion in boiling water. This is theoretically possible, but why not just sell them? Koshering only makes sense if you're actually planning to use them during Pesach. The next seif makes clear how difficult the process would actually be, and if, like most barrels that I know of, they're made from multiple planks that are bound together with metal hoops, then koshering isn't actually even possible. One interesting note from here, though, on how to do Hagala, it involves placing heated stones inside the barrel before you pour the boiling water in. Why would you do that? Because otherwise the temperature after you pour the boiling water, even if you heated it really hot in your pot, the temperature is going to drop too much and it won't actually be boiling while it's inside the barrel. There only needs to be an instant of contact with boiling water for it to work, but hot stones help keep the water temperature up and make sure you get there. Also, with regard to immersion, in other words, submersion, it's important to make sure you get every single little nook and cranny. So if you're dunking stuff, make sure you have a big enough pot to fit pots inside. Now, some things just can't be koshered, as we said, because of all the nooks and crannies or the connections between different parts or materials. These you're better off storing and selling, and hopefully keeping a second set if it's the kind of item you're going to need to use for cooking during Pesach. Koshering your cabinets, and today I would say, most kitchens as well as cabinets have things like countertops in them. This is only necessary if hot food goes in there. So if you're opening your cabinets and putting hot food in, you need to worry. But if you're just storing dishes in there, a simple sweep is enough. Your refrigerator, for example, is probably okay. This can be done, though, if you do have a hot food cabinet to kosher, it can be done with boiling water and hot stones. But Seif number 11 gives a sense of how difficult this would actually be. Now, this is why you'll find most strictly kosher for Passover kitchens covered almost top to bottom in tin foil as a protective layer. With regard to drinking glasses, so for example, the pint glasses I drink beer out of, these are tough because they can't physically handle either libun or Hagala intact. But the good news is they're non-porous, which means they don't absorb much at all. Now, the Kitzur seems to basically say don't worry about it and don't worry about koshering them. The notes from the Mishnah Brura, though, say that the ideal thing is to keep a second set on hand. If you're not able to do that, though, you can kosher your drinking glasses through a slow process of basically 3 24-hour-long soaks. Throughout all your koshering, don't forget the handles. That's part of the dish and needs to be koshered as well. And don't forget to change out the water in your koshering pot if it starts to get icky as well. That's all for today. As always, our learning is dedicated to Rabbi Shlomo Gansfried, the author of the Kitzur, and the historic Jewish community of Uzhhorod, Ukraine. See you tomorrow.